Sid, you have to unmute yourself.
Before Sid does that, you know, last time we were talking about the number of briquettes on top and underneath, and we had a look at Sid's chart. There's something called a rule of two. If you take the dimension of the pan, say 12 inches, overall you're going to need 24 briquettes. But if so, you subdivide that into two, take 2 off from 1 and 2 off and add 2 on, you'll end up with a differential of 4. So you can end up with 8 on the bottom and 16 on the top, etc., or something of that nature. It's roughly, it's a rule, it's known as the rule of 2, but there are various schools of thought. Some people like 6 to differentiate it, but normally it's a rule of 2.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Back to you, Sid.
It's only going to be 5 minutes or so, I think, before the nachos are ready. Probably about the same for the cake. So if you want to make a start on dehydrating, we're not quite there.
All right. If Jackie, if you can unmute yourself, we have to find the pictures of what's he posted. Did you find them, Vicky? Can you share them? Right.
Yes, I meant to start the drying yesterday, but I got distracted by this thing called rugby.
What's that?
It's what I
much of a distraction.
It's recorded. Okay. Okay, well, for those who doesn't know anything about dehydration, if you can, yeah. For those, can you see me? Remove spotlight. Right. Spotlight for everyone. Okay. Okay, spotlight.
Can't hear you, Mark.
Yeah. It doesn't look like I'm on in the screen on the moment, so.
You're back. You're back.
Yeah, we can see you now.
Okay. But for the recording, it needs to be me in the screen and not anybody else. Okay. Hey, do you have a screen? Okay. This is basically what Terry is doing with the fruit. The end result will be basically like a banana. I'm not sure if you can hear this. It breaks. Where's the mic? It gives us a little snap. So that's what it does. The machines people can use. I don't know, Terry, do you have a food dehydrator like this one?
Ours is an easy dry.
Yeah, it's like this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So what it is, there's a little machine in it. And we used it yesterday for turkey. That's why there's a little ventilator with a heat. The temperature settings is maximum till 60 degrees, and you can turn it down and up. And you use those trays. This one is with a mesh, but as I think we showed it on another day with a kind of sheet, so you can pour in like a barbecue sauce or whatever. You put it in the machine, and it goes from there. And you leave it on till everything is dried. What you need to do is, there's 2 layers, but this one can go up to 10, is to change the layers quite often. So when the fruit becomes drier and drier, it goes smaller and smaller. You put it back to reduce the size of the trays, but also the top tray and the bottom tray can have a difference. So that's quite important to realize.
Also, if you turn the fruit over or whatever you're drying halfway through, that will help with drying time as well. If you've got time, unless you've left it overnight.
Yep. So we did some drying. Maybe Vicky can find the pictures, or we'll find them later. About yeah.
I have posted some pictures of what I'm currently got in our dryer. There's also a little competition. If you want to enter, there's no prize of guessing what weight all the fruit will dry to.
Okay.
Show the screen. No.
No.
No. I was trying to share Jax's pictures, but I can't find it.
If you haven't dehydrated before, it is a great opportunity to experiment. If you have any sort of leftover stews and things like that, pop it in the dryer, see how it does, see how it rehydrates, taste-wise and flavour-wise. Things like chili will be more exaggerated when you rehydrate it. If you chop your items like carrots and things like that, they might sort of disappear. So experiment with, say, size of vegetables that you dry. Meat size is important. It's better to have a big surface area and it'll dry better. Even things like beans, a tin of beans you can dehydrate. If you want to do a chili, just and then rehydrate it as you're cooking the chili.
So this is we made some jerky yesterday, isn't it? Yeah. We put a marinade, just some teriyaki with some whiskey, pepper, salt, garlic, chili, and some liquid smoke to give it a bit of smoky taste. This is steak we use, a fillet steak. As you can see, there's a little bit of fat in it. You have to cut that off. You will see later. I freeze the steak a bit so it is more solid and easy to very, very sliced, thin sliced pictures. Next picture. Here is the meat. You can see what came off of the steak in the left corner. Next picture. If you want the steak flattened, I use the knife and give it a smack with my top of my hand to flatten it out. Put it in the marinade overnight in the fridge. This is a pot for what I can seal off with vacuum. Next morning, make sure everything is dry. What you try to avoid with drying, with dehydrating, it's very hard to do, is oils and fatty, greasy stuff that will almost not dry. It will go rancid and horrible. Next picture. Put it in a machine on the mash. Next picture. This is drying for a while, and the end result.
Oh, and he's disappeared.
Want to read it all by himself?
Yes.
No, I forgot my notes. I started at 10:40, about 17 degrees in the kitchen. The meat itself was 110 grams, or approximately. I finished the drying about 4:15. It was then 20 degrees in the kitchen. And I end up, next picture, like those things, if you can see it, is this the last picture? This is, yeah, I ended up with 60 grams. So you lose almost 50 grams of weight of, I say, bone, meat, water. Okay, stop sharing. Back to me. Can you put it on there? Here it is, the result. It was vacuum, and you can see there's a bit. You don't need that snappy like the green the stuff, what's called fruit, but you want it a bit, well, chewy. So yeah, smells very garlicky. Yes.
Markian, if with the vacuum box thing, if you want to speed up your marinating process, put the stuff into that, vacuum seal it with the marinade in it, and it will reduce your marinade time by at least half.
Yes, that's what I do anyway. Yeah, but I didn't have time to dry last night or Friday night, so I just left it in the fridge overnight.
Yeah,
But
put it in. Yeah, take it in.
Taking air out of things is always good. It speeds up processes like marination and it keeps things fresh. To keep things fresh, this is an old system I have, but I think you sometimes you can buy it with Pacific supermarkets from Lidl and Aldi. This is a machine what actually does the vacuum. So this one comes out and goes in the pot that I just showed you. But to make it a sealable bag, you can burn here, you press it, it takes it out, and when it is done, the vacuum comes out, it automatically seals. And those are the bags you use.
Okay.
And you can
Can you
reuse them. Well, if you can cut it straight, it needs to be cut straight, you can reuse them till, well, there's nothing to seal anymore.
If you're reusing your bags, Mark-Jan, the best thing to do is if you can freeze the food before you put it in the bag, then when it goes in the bag, it will form to a much better size, and you can then take it out to defrost it when you need to, and then then it's much easier to wash the bag. You don't have the worry about juices coming out from the bag into the sealing machine.
Yeah, that's the only problem with sealing machines. If you have liquidy around it, it will suck actually the liquid into the machine. So you have to
Screen share to see her photos.
screen share her. Okay, Jax, if
Yes.
you go to your screen, there should be a green button what says screen share. And
Yes.
Just as you're setting that up, Mark, Jan, can I just show you what we've done in ours?
yeah,
Because it's just all come to temperature. So I think that you should see the dish.
remove.
Oh, sorry, I'm not very good at navigating there. There you go. So this is very slow cooked pork belly and beef with stir fried vegetables and noodles, and very tasty. Okay.
Okay, make sure you mute yourself, otherwise we hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, Terry.
Just
we're
wanna,
done now.
Right, can you share mine?
You can now start sharing your screen. By pressing the share screen,
yes,
it will ask you what you want to share with us.
right. What do you want the pictures?
Your photos of your
Okay.
post on Facebook.
Terry might have to do this for us.
That's fine, I had no clue either.
No idea. Hang on a second. I'm just trying to find them on my SD card.
Okay. In the meantime, if there's anybody with questions about food hydration and that kind of stuff, you don't need machines to do it. As I said on Tuesday, you can have an oven when you just bake the bread, for example. You lower the temperature of your oven to 50 degrees, and then
Yes.
what you do again is just put the fruit in, make sure the lid is open of the oven, so a little bit, so the air can a bit escape, because you don't want the moisturization stick in your oven.
Yeah, that's just.
And you have a
How do you share it?
Works.
That's just kind of. Sorry, I can't have a look.
Okay, so for other pictures, we go to the Facebook page and we'll see if I've proper edited skills. Maybe I
A
do.
question from Rita for Jax was, does she cook your vegetables before you dehydrate them, or do you do it raw?
Do them raw.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's part of a stew they've already cooked, then it doesn't really matter. But if you want to make up something as you're going along, say have a packet of carrots or a packet of onions and stuff like that. Just raw is absolutely fine.
Food, to dry your food is something like if you have your speck balls, if you make that a sauce and you have leftovers, you can pour that over one of those sheets and then dry it and then
Yes.
bake it, and you have one meal ready. So you
Yeah,
can use leftovers.
Yes, just experiment. As I say, if as long as it's not raw meat, then yes, just use your leftovers, experiment and see how it turns out.
Except jerkies, that's raw meat actually.
Yes, so as long as it's not raw meat,
Yeah.
everything else can be experimented with.
Experiment with.
Yes.
Be careful with experimenting with chicken and that kind of stuff. But if it is cooked,
Yes, it's fine.
fine.
Actually, garlic and herb chicken dried is absolutely fantastic snack.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're ready to open the Dutch ovens now.
Yeah. Let's go. There's a comment made that you have to be careful when you dry things. The power is more, the strength of the taste will go higher, like sweetness, sugar, soury, garlic, spicy. So be careful if you do it, that you, yeah, well, don't blow your mouth away.
As we discussed in the last one, that's why we all have a food hydration bag, is so you can adjust the tastes. If something comes out a bit bland, you've got a bit of chili, or you've got a bit of seasoning, or if you just take dried mince with you, you can then add to make up whatever you want to.
Okay, let's go back to sit.
Dun, dun, dun.
How's the cake?
Okay, so I'm just going to lift the lid on the cake. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. So that looks about perfect to me. So I'm going to take that one off. I'll put it to one side. For some reason, the dog's at the patio doors staring in. So I've taken most of the charcoals out from underneath. Ready. I put the lid down on the trivet so it doesn't burn onto the patio. So now you get to watch us all having our lunch.
And your recipe is potato nachos with cheese.
Yeah, I shared it on a slide the other day. So hopefully you'll be able to see that. Lots of crunchy cheese, potato salsa, barbecue sauce, and refried beans. And put it into a bowl cozy, just so the heat doesn't get stripped away really quickly. So that was Paul's half with the fatty cheese, and this is my half with the boring cheese. So I don't know if you can see, but it comes away really cleanly from the bottom of the pan. So I don't know if you can see that, but the bottom of the pan is fairly unscathed. I'm just going to take it off so it stops any further cooking. Well, there's residual heat there, but so I think I'll take the lid off the cake as well to stop that from cooking. So the only thing I didn't do is bring a trivet out to put the cake on. So I'll just pop that on the floor and I'll let you have a look at that shortly. Just move the iPad back round.
Sid,
iPad's just fallen off.
Sid, do sponge cakes work better than fruit cakes?
I tend to use sponge cakes purely because it's easier to pack it, you know, to make the mix at home and to put it in a bag. But they both work equally well. You know, you can adjust the cooking time really quickly and easily.
can I add a? Can everybody hear me?
Hey, Graham, we can hear you.
Can I add a tip to when you put your batter mixture or your sponge mixture into a plastic bag? A good tip is, rather than trying to pour it out the actual mouth of the bag, if you've got the bag, use it as, you have to excuse me, I forget words for things, but if you basically cut the corner off the bottom of the bag, then you can actually just squeeze the mix out down through the bottom of the bag, rather than trying to tip it out of the mouth and all that. When you got the mixture in the bottom of the bag, so if this here was the bag, just cut the bottom off, and then you can squeeze it down into the pan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like a piping bag. It means you can only use that bag once. So if you want to reuse your sealing bags, maybe not a good idea, but you can use things like the one I talked about, where you can seal it yourself.
Yes.
That's the way of doing it, because you have to cut the top off anyway.
Yes. So if you're going to have to use it once, yeah, exactly, Mark. And thank you again. Being up with my memory, I can forget terms. So yes, a piping bag. So yes, brilliant. Thanks for picking up on the word. Thank you. And that food is absolutely beautiful. Soul food. It's fuel. Thank you. Right. I'm getting a bit of a hang on this. Can everybody see me again?
No.
Hello, everyone.
No.
I'm not technologically advanced, so as I say, this is brand new for me. So hello, everybody out there. Right. So where's that mute button? There you go.
Okay. It is still on recording, so be careful, Graham. You will be famous before you know. Okay. Anybody? Any questions? What relates to the food we are cooking or the dehydration? In that case, I will
Very
stop.
tasty.
Yeah, remove the spotlight because we don't want to see this.
I don't need to see us eating.
I will stop the recording. I will stop the recording, and then we can have a bit of